in your status, walking like that. It's really getting too much, but I can't pull back. Though I try to resist, I can't fight this. And no one makes me feel like you do. And no one sets my body on fire. And no one gives me shivers like you. Oh, no one does it better. How I try to sleep, but you're deep in my mind. Got a hold of me. When I'm awake, I'm all blind. You and your magic, like infinite power. God knows I try to resist, but you're pulling me closer. Oh, I gotta stay away, but you won't let me. No one makes me feel like you do. And no one sets my body on fire. And no one gives me shivers like you. Oh, no one does it better.
What to do to blow my mind. You're from another planet. I've never felt like this. I don't know how I ever survived without it. I'm starry-eyed. Got me upside down, spinning around you. Wanna taste the clouds, dance with the moon. Take a trip around your body. Boy, I love the way you got me. Starry-eyed, got me starry-eyed. This bed is out of space, just keep painting constellations. You cover me in glitter till I'm shining bright. I never wanna leave the sky. The way you made me feel alive. I was in the dark and baby, you're the light. You're from another planet. I've never felt like this. I don't know how I ever survived without it. I'm starry-eyed. Got me upside down, spinning around you. Wanna taste the clouds, dance with the moon. Take a trip around your body.
Welcome everybody to today's cast. This will be the GitGud EU Winners Finals, upper bracket finals I suppose, for today. It's going to be Milkmen versus Drip Council. I'm here, Toasty, joined by Rudy TG. We'll be bringing you the coverage for this game, a very important game, might I add, as well. This is, going to decide who goes to the grand finals.
Yeah, definitely both of these teams. I mean, you do have the opportunity still, if you do lose this game, to go to the grand finals if you win the losers finals, but obviously you don't want to take the risk. So it is going to be very important for both of these teams to try to make it to that grand finals.
Yeah, absolutely, and the stakes of this game, sure, you have a second chance, but you would prefer to go straight to the grand finals and be kind of the higher seeded team in that game as well, as I believe in that game as well there are some stakes, of course, some advantages for being the upper bracket team, but coming and looking at the rosters, I mean, we've casted Drip Council before, but there have been some changes from that roster, and there are going to be some changes today here as well. We've got a ringer on both sides, I believe, as Rika is coming in for the side of, I believe, Drip Council, to play support.
Yeah, I believe we also saw Rika on with this team the last time that they were on broadcast. I think it was me and you, Toasty, that were actually casting their game. So for the side of for the Drip, it's going to be Spud Hunter and Quite on the DPS, Evil Lurk and Spudacy on the tanks. By the way, might I add, it is fantastic that they have two Spuds on this team. I really think that's going to be an advantage for this team going forward. And then Rika Horizon on support. And then on the side of the Milkmen, you got the Okie Dokie Milkman combo DPS, and then Legendary Friday on the tanks. I believe Friday is going to be the off-tank player, or potentially the main tank player, actually, for this team. We'll see. And then Deja Mu and Ice Cream for the support line. So, I mean, both of these teams obviously have kind of proven their worth already by, advancing to the winners finals on sort of both sides of the bracket. So now they'll be battling out here in the upper finals to see who definitively is going to be coming out on top and heading towards that grand finals. That's going to be happening next week.
Yeah, and that should be super hype as well because, both of these teams, they've had minimal losses during the season as well. It's not just the fact that they've torn through this playoffs bracket like a bunch of chads, right? They are definitely, in terms of the record as well, they've been doing it throughout the entire season, only 2 losses on either side. Both teams 9-2 coming into this, so it is going to be one of these high caliber games, and to be fair, I wouldn't be surprised if, potentially, because these two teams have torn through the upper bracket, that we see a rematch of this in the grand finals. But we are going to be starting off here on Nepal. So this is going to be Milkmen's map pick. And I'm pretty confident that they're going to enjoy this because this is their favorite control map as they have put in the information for us. Yeah,
I mean, getting to choose your favorite control to start off the series is definitely going to be a big boost. I mean, there's still plenty of control maps potentially to play if we ever go to a map 5 scenario. But yeah, I mean, having the for sure pick of map number 1 is going to be able to start things off strong. And I will say, to the credit of another team that's egging this bracket, which is actually Diamond Pack. There was the last set between Diamond Pack and Milkmen actually resulted. It was a 3-2 win for the Milkmen, so it was a very close game overall. And that's you were mentioning Chads earlier. Diamond Pack has the Mega Chad himself on that team. So this is just deathmatch, am I correct?
Yeah, this is just a skirmish for the pre-game, so I'm assuming we don't have any.
Yeah, I got confused there for a little bit, but I was like, oh my god, the game's starting. Oh my gosh, I'm not ready. Please, you gotta build things into this. I can't just go in. But yeah,
there we go.
Like I was saying, Diamond Pack is actually playing in the lower bracket finals. I believe either today or tomorrow. And so we will be seeing whether or not they actually no, it's not the losers finals. It's like the losers finals before the losers finals, if that makes sense.
So losers semifinals, yeah,
something like that. But yeah,
I mean the bracket's hard to really read, but yeah, that is going to be interesting because Diamond Pack coming up against either of these teams I think would be an excellent game. But coming into this, I mean, I definitely have my bets on Milkmen just being the higher seed, but yeah. So we do have Friday coming in as off tank, so one ring on both sides make this very interesting, but we'll end up seeing what happens. I mean, we got Drip Council with an AFK player, And we immediately go into a pause. This is going great so far, Rudy.
I was about to say, I'm really loving the Evil Lurk main tank pickup. I mean, bringing it back to late 2020. Gotta have a quick throwback there. Milkmen, though, on the other side, they were they were kind of teasing the Winston Rush dive composition, which is actually pretty standard on. Well, actually, I would say since you're on that portion of so that map type that we were showing on Nepal, which is like the shrine area where you have like the enclosement, like the tower in the middle, and then the enclosement with like high ground all around it. You don't see a whole lot of Winston compositions being played particularly, but what we do see a lot of is Rush, and so it's the Winston Rush being played on that map. So it's probably the right type. You could also be playing something like Wrecking Ball and also spam compositions, but it seems like Milkmen really do want to be going for that sort of aggressive Rush type of composition. I'm not sure if the thing we saw out of Drip Council was actually the correct composition that they wanted to go for. Probably not. I would be pretty surprised if Evil Lurk actually came out on the Roadhog on a map that's kind of as wide open as Nepal is.
Yeah, I mean, there's not even any like natural cover or flank routes you can use as that Roadhog, right? Even if you wanted to play that kind of
you're literally just sitting there in like a wide open area.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like it's a great pick for them if they do decide to play it. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but there's no real potential for the Roadhog to get stuff done if Milkmen play their cards correctly, and you can just kind of outpace the Roadhog composition as well. I mean, if you're playing a fast-paced composition to a more slow-paced Sig Hog, it's gonna go well for you.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the only exception to that role was kind of like I mentioned, like the 2020 meta last year, like towards the end of the year when Roadhog was just super busted and you could just destroy like low health targets with his hook combo and even his primary fire. But we're not in that patch anymore. Roadhog's just back to being his usual fat self with just a big old X on his forehead at all times, or his belly, I guess, because that's where most players aim if you're at my level, at plat and gold below.
Relatable.
Hey, dude,
relatable.
heads are really hard to aim at. Just saying.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can feel that as well. I'm also plat, so we definitely have something in common there. But yeah, I mean, this isn't, I don't think, a plat game. I think this is more like Diamond Low Masters type game. So yeah, we're looking at a bit more potential skill than what you've just mentioned. I think we're looking at people who actually can hit headshots occasionally, maybe, just a couple times.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe a little
But we are just waiting, I believe, for Clyte, I think it was, to load in. They are reloading the game now, so they should be getting in pretty shortly here, Rudy, and I'm pretty hyped to see who will actually come out on top of this first map.
Yeah, little thing to mention too, in our last little adventure with Drip Council, it did unfortunately result in a 3-1 loss to them. They actually went up against Diamond Pack, who was like one of the other top seeds, and actually Diamond Pack ended up being the top seed for the intermediate bracket. This was a game that was happened before playoffs. They were still in Swiss. So Diamond Pack looked like a really strong team, and they had a 3-1 loss to them, unfortunately. One of the big things that I took away from Drip Council during that match in particular was just that they couldn't adjust fast enough to some of the composition changes that Diamond Pack was showing. Like, in particular on Route 66, they just got destroyed by a bunker composition on point A, and they just couldn't get any value from their sort of dive attempts that they were making. No real adjustment was being made, so that was a kind of a big criticism I had of them back then. I'll be interested to see if they have answers to that now. If they are able to kind of make, or if they, have been coached or are more aware of the fact that they need to be more on point with their adjustments going into like matches.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Drip Council, it would be the biggest comeback story if they could come out, win this game, and eventually potentially win against Diamond Pack, That would be a great comeback story. I wouldn't be opposed to it either, because Drip Council, they have a profile picture that makes me, I think, like them a little bit more.
The profile pic.
Yeah, that is...
the profile pic yet.
Yeah,
it's right
it's Donald Duck with drip, yeah.
That is magnificent. I should say. There was a logo contest going on actually for GG. I wonder if somebody submitted drip councils. I didn't see it on the Twitter. I sincerely hope that they did. Cause
I voted in that actually. I didn't see drip councils in it though. So.
Ah, are you kidding me? Come on, man. I guess like I don't know. It's just I'd give it a 10 out of 10.
I'd give it a solid like 9.5.
9.5?
Yeah, not 10 out of 10. I've seen funnier logos than that. I'll tell you that much. I mean, listen. If it was in the logo contest, I feel like it would have gotten highly rated. I think I would have rated it highly, but.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I look at that logo and I hear the music just pop up immediately. Just like, da, da, da. I tried to do it off tune so that we wouldn't get copyright strike. So
I don't think we would anyway, Rudy. But it's nice to be safe. But yeah.
I'm being safe. I'm making sure, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a sucker for like cool looking logos, like really like space themed ones. I like those kind of logos, stuff like that. I kind of like that. So I think that's the only thing I'd put above Drip Council. Any team that has kind of that in it. But yeah, Drip Councils is a logo to behold. We'll say that much.
Yeah, the problem with space logos, I would assume, is that there's just so much abundance. Like, it's just space. You know, you should put a rocket.
No, not an actual
picture
picture of space. Like just like, you know, something like, I don't know, like there's teams out there who name themselves like Orion or something. That's a really overused team name, and you know they use kind of space themed logos, you know.
I don't know, man. I feel like if you put me up against a Supreme sweater and against a picture of space, I mean, space is cool and all, but it's like, I don't know.
All right, well, yeah, I mean, I think you in a Supreme sweater would be even better than Donald Duck in a Supreme sweater, so I think we'll go with that.
Yeah, well, I'm too much of a poor sap to even afford the highest of highs in terms of just fashion sense and drip, unfortunately. For those of you who are wondering what the situation is that we're stalling for, actually, it's a bit unfortunate. The player still hasn't loaded in, so we might end up in a situation where we have to start 5v6, which
yeah.
You know, there's always a good time and place to start practicing for Overwatch 2, but I don't think today is right now is a particularly good time to start practicing that. So,
yeah, I don't think in a tournament match where you're potentially going to the grand finals is the best place to be practicing for Overwatch 2, especially without all the balance changes, right? Okay, I could understand it if that we were playing on that patch, but I don't think we're
also playing against a team that has an extra tank player. That would be
I don't think that quite adds up here for Drip Council.
Yeah, especially actually the player that they're waiting on, I believe, was a DPS as well. So imagine if they came out with two tanks and one DPS as well.
Hey, Roadhog could be a DPS.
True.
I mean, everyone was theorizing like months ago, like they thought Roadhog would get role swapped like months ago to DPS, didn't they? So
yeah, he probably should. Too bad, he's too fat. Okay, guy needs to lose some weight. All right, I'm not fat shaming him, but you know, you think that in an by the way, small tangent here because we got plenty of time.
Okay.
You think that in a small like an apocalyptic wasteland that Roadhog lives in the Overwatch lore that he'd be like super skinny because like food is so hard to come by.
Like he'd be malnourished, wouldn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he just. I assume it's like some kind of like radioactive mutation or something because like everybody in there is like a mutated mess. But yeah,
I mean, it could be because of the take a breather. You never know. But yeah, we're getting back into things here. Enough of that tangent. Let's play the game. 5v6 apparently is Drip Council are lacking their hit scan, so Spud Hunter will have to carry twice as hard to try and make Drip Council the winners in this first engagement. As Milkman are on the side here, wants to look for a potential hack. Here it goes, a catch to Baptiste, so that'll be a quick engage. Milkman right into the fray, catching Horizon out. The Baptiste is gone, no lamp to be had. And that should just be an initial appointed cap coming through.
Yeah, you're really going to be focusing on Spud Hunter trying to get those initial, or even Evil Lurk trying to get those initial pickups that even just like, even if they get like the kill at the start of the team fight, they'll still only be even, which is definitely going to be very unfortunate for them here. I wonder if they can. I wonder if the rules will allow for them to be able to look for a ringer real quick in between rounds. I assume so, because this is pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, it was just kind of a roll there. If they had like a Cassidy or a Reaper, they could have actually potentially dealt with that dive and sustained through it, but unfortunately it didn't quite happen there for Drip Council. They'll take a long rotation on the side here, so it does look as if they want to make use of that Hanzo, but again, a quick engage Milkmen into their faces, and there's nothing that can be done because they're just getting outpaced.
Outpaced, outmanned, what aren't they being outed in that team fight? Unfortunately, Horizon, using that app matrix very, very late into that team fight, definitely could have saved that, especially coming up against double support ultimates that Milkman have. I mean, Milkman haven't even needed to use anything besides the bomb, which I'm pretty sure they just threw out there just because they could.
Yeah, absolutely. And Spudhunter from the side here might look for a kill or two to try and maybe even things up, and actually looks for Milkman. Manages to get the kill, so now it's a 5 versus 5. The beat used here by Dejamu, though, so they do want to get into position and look at that Blossom. Okidoki gonna catch a couple out with that. But that Dragon Strike actually does catch Legendary, and it looks like a back cap coming through. Drip Council, that's Spudhunter, I believe, on the point. Gonna get reddited here by Dejamu, though. And it should just be a recap coming through, and Milkman, again, just pulling ahead.
Drip Council has the opportunity, actually, to maybe attempt to recontest here, because they did take out Ice Scream at the sort of tail end of that round, so that's a lot of the healing here. Unfortunately, going up against an EMP with, you know, a lack of DPS presence on the enemy team, Ice Cream goes down again, actually, so, I mean, there's some potential here.
Yeah, there's definitely potential for Drip Council to end up winning this. In fact, they take down Milkman as well, so a couple players down. Milkman, they have to try and potentially turn this around, but again, it's Spudhunter that catches the Mecha Friday. Finally gets dealt with by the baby D.Va. A little bit of revenge there for the D.Va mech that has fallen. And now Drip Council have to kind of move off of that point, but they have to keep touching. Spitaisi back onto it with that lamp, but Horizon ends up falling, so no more healing to sustain them onto this. As Spudhunter swaps to the Doomfist, but it isn't in time, as that EMP will come through for the cleanup. And Milkmen pull ahead in the first round, 100-7. Pretty dominant, although you can see why.
You know, even getting the 7% is pretty impressive there, to be honest with you, but
Yeah.
I mean, the EMP in that last round from Milkman wasn't even needed. He did get caught out by the Roadhog or by somebody in that last fight, but unfortunately Okidoki was just sustained through long enough by DJ Moo's ultimate to be able to win. I mean, if you have a Reaper on point, just, you know, shooting at big health targets like the Sigma and the Roadhog, it's not much you could do to stop him unless he got some form of CC or another DPS, which, you know, would definitely be nice to have right now for Drip Council.
Yeah, definitely, and Spudhunter's going to try and take over the mantle of that hit scan roll by going onto the Cassidy here for the rush, but they're lacking a Reaper, they're lacking a Mei, they're lacking even a Hanzo in this situation. Again, it's going to be hard for them to engage because they're lacking the damage and the utility that can be provided by any of those heroes, as it's just Milkmen playing up close to the corner, they're getting the Shatter charge through. I mean, 65, 78% actually, a massive jump. And Legendary is just happy to sit here and swing. Now the Amp Matrix comes through, but there's a wall onto the Reinhardt, and now Legendary has a Shatter online. Can end up using it in this team fight, but they're getting forced out into the corners, somehow staying alive. In fact, that Shatter comes through from Evil Lurk, but there it is in retaliation. Both Shatters come through, and not really much gained from either. Legendary ends up falling, and a beat has to be used by Milkman to keep him in this, but Rika is right there with one in return, and it looks like Drip Council might actually pull ahead in this team fight as Ice Cream falls to the bomb, and Drip Council have done it. They're going to get the flip back over.
Yeah, for sure. The little rotation from Spudhunter going from the front to the back, kind of flanking them in a little bit as well. The fact that Legendary went down really early in that team fight after they used both of the Shatters, not enough heals or not enough support for them as they kind of got forced back, and then even the Amp Matrix. I'm surprised, really. Both of the DPS ultimates were unused in that team fight as well, probably because they were built up or kind of after the team fight had already been lost. But, I mean, you really would have liked to see a Symmetra ult there on the side, but they actually are going to TP the point and use both of them, and I think that's going to be pretty secure team fight win. Or not team fight win, but just control.
Oh, there's the Eat Spadicy denying the ultimate, and now the High Noon can come around the corner. So many skulls, but they didn't click left click. Spud Hunter clearly does not want that massive play, but the shots are going to get cancelled for Legendary, and then Evil Lurk drops one of their own. A lot of damage coming through from that, but Friday into the back with the bomb, catches out Rika, and from that, everyone else is going to end up falling. Drip Council, they had a good position, but they kind of fumbled it.
Yeah, there was a lot of pressure there from Drip Council. I'm really surprised. I mean, definitely one of the better compositions that we saw from them in their last match was them playing the rush, and even down a player, they are playing it pretty well. Spud Hunter's ultimate being used to pressure the shield so heavily. Milkmen were kind of backed into a corner, but I think it was unfortunately just the sustainability coming from Milkman on the Mei to help them survive that onslaught.
Yeah, and there's the bomb into the back. Spadicy wanting to try and get that through. And actually kind of assisted by the pin there as Milkman and Legendary are going to end up falling. And nice remet kill there for Spadicy. And it should just end up being a flip, but going from 17 to 99 is still a hard ask for Drip Council, though they have a B and a High Noon to do it in the next fight.
It's going to be so difficult for them. A wall available for this side of Milkmen as well. I mean, so much less pressure against the Symmetra is really hurting them as well, because Symmetra is just one of those heroes that if you let them live for too long, they're just going to create massive value from their primary fire.
Yeah, and you can see here as well, just getting charged up on the shield. Spud Hunter has to use this High Noon to force him away. Are they going to click left click this time? They do. They manage to get that through.
Oh,
and there's the Shatter. It cancels the Blizzard. It allows for this massacre to happen. But Friday trades out, and it's actually not looking too bad for Milkmen if they can kind of get their stuff together as they look to Spadicy and try and kill them off on the Diva. The Amp Matrix utilized by Horizon to force them back, and that should be Ice Cream falling there on the Baptiste. Drip Council should be stabilizing here as Friday just kind of throws their body onto the point, wants to try and reset that. And yeah, this will come down to actually a last fight in this round.
Yeah, it was a last fight territory because that fight lasted so long on the side of Milkmen. All their players were kind of trying to sustain through it. Unfortunately, I think the Amp Matrix from Horizon really finishing things up. Look at this early bomb coming out, trying to catch somebody. I mean, you got to try something, right?
Yeah, it was kind of aspirational, we'll say that much, as now Legendary's going to try and walk forward, but there's a kill onto Ice Cream. Oh my lord, that is so unlucky there for Ice Cream. And now with that beat, Dejamu's going to try and get people into position, but Legendary going to drop the slam, catches a couple, Evil Lurk's going to fall, and the rest to follow it looks like here from Drip Council. But there are still trades coming through. It's all down to whether Horizon can stay alive here on the Baptiste, but they're getting forced away by the Symmetra, but they take Friday down, and it looks like Drip Council might have an opportunity to win this out. They're going to return with a couple players here, and it's whether Evil Lurk can actually return in time here. They swapped to the ball. Can they get there? They cannot. Drip Council unfortunately not managing to edge that round out, and they lose that first map in a 5v6 scenario, unfortunately. I mean, from the start, the odds were kind of against them there.
The odds were against them, but they came out and said, you know what, we don't really care. We're going to make this into a series anyways. I mean, definitely playing the rush. I can see why this team is comfortable on that composition. I mean, just the fact that I believe we have some Reinhardt stats actually to show kind of the comparison. I'm really interested to see how much value both of these Reinhardts got, because in the head-to-head, honestly, it kind of looked like Evil Lurk was pulling away. And I mean, look at this. 11 eliminations, 7,000 damage done in comparison to 3,944 on the side of Legendary. It's pretty impressive.
That is just dominance. I mean, it kind of makes you wonder how on earth they lost that, but again, it probably was just the 5v6 disadvantage. They didn't have the player advantage even when they were pulling ahead in picks, and in all reality, I mean, if Evil Lurk just has a Mei there, or a Reaper for, you know, the extra kind of punch in the engagements, I think that those stats would be even more inflated, to be honest. Evil Lurk was putting up an excellent performance there, and if they come into this next few maps with, you know, that Ringer that we were talking about, then perhaps they will actually be able to support Evil Lurk a lot more, make use of that, I mean, just absolute massacre that was being provided.
To be fair, I'm going to try to play devil's advocate a little bit. I believe that some of those numbers might have been inflated also by the fact that Drip Council, because they didn't have an extra player that they needed to be
Yeah.
healing at all times, so there was a bit more, support given to Evil Lurk on the Reinhardt. But I mean, you could just even see just from the eye test alone and just seeing how much value Evil was getting on his shatters in particular, which were immense at times, kind of almost team fight winning in a sense. I mean, when you're down a DPS player, you kind of have to go sicko mode Reinhardt to try to compensate, and I think Evil did that spectacularly. I'm interested to see what we're gonna do about the Ringer situation going forward, because it is gonna be the next map for being picked on the side of Drip Council, and it is actually gonna be King's Row that's gonna be picked here, which
so I think they're doing this because they've realized that their best chance is just to mirror brawl and hope that they can clutch out those team fights, because they put up a good performance there, especially when you're looking at Village. So it is definitely winnable for them if they do not have that extra ringer. Again, we do not know what's happening in terms of that, but if it does end up coming to the fact that they get that ringer back in, they might be in a position to win King's Row because they looked exponentially better in the brawl. It's just the player disadvantage that we were talking about. It was kind of just inflated Reinhardt stats because you had a lot more support from your Baptiste.
Okay. We have Clyde back in the game. He was the player that was missing from Drip Council. He is back. Will he be able to play? Will his... I don't know what was wrong earlier. I think...
Game wasn't loading in.
I don't know if it was his machine or... his connection or whatever, but hopefully they'll be back in and we'll be able to make this into a series, which I'm excited to see the full. I mean, if you're going 99 against 99 in a 5v6 situation on the Brawl Mirror, and then you see that the player that had the one-man disadvantage has their one player, I'd be really scared if I was on the enemy team. If you just narrowly managed to win the last encounter.
Yeah, Milkmen should definitely be a little bit scared right now of Drip Council. They've got the drip now. They've got their full
just look
six.
At their logo.
So... Yeah, exactly. 6. I mean, why wouldn't you be scared?
How could you not be intimidated? I'm intimidated right now, and I'm not even playing against them.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, after watching that performance from Evil, I don't blame you for being intimidated. As they have swapped sides here, so it'll be Drip Council starting off on the defense, and in just about 15 seconds, we'll see what they end up running. Probably the Brawl seems like the most likely thing they would do, because that worked for them before. They made it close in a 5v6 scenario, and if you can do that in 5v6, you're going to be able to do it in 6v6.
I did not notice that there was like a little memorial for that Omnic monk that died. Actually, I never noticed that detail. It's kind of crazy how long I've been playing this game and how little I pay attention to what's actually in the maps. It's actually insane how much detail is put into these maps, and we just play it and like, oh, okay. There's a
it kind of makes you feel bad for the Overwatch devs who get all the flack constantly.
I mean, this is a great looking game.
Yeah.
So nobody really cares about that stuff. Well, so let's look at the thing that Drip Council just came out on. We got the Roadhog Sigma going once again. I mean, I could see it on Control, but when you're playing on King's Row Defense, not sure.
Yeah, like on maybe like an assault map or maybe even a hybrid map, I could understand this, but I don't think this is a hybrid map, but other hybrid maps, I can see it.
Yeah.
Well, King's Row, you're just gonna get outpaced.
Not if you find that
okay, well, yeah, they kind of threw a wrench into Milkman's plans there. They wanted to rotate the armed position, didn't quite happen, and they're kind of proving us wrong here, and they're making it work apparently.
Okay, yeah, I mean, one of the big criticisms that we had of the Roadhog in the first map actually was that he didn't have enough cover to work with, but we see here that, I mean, he has a whole entire house to live in. He's Steve from Minecraft. Just builds himself a house and he can just hide in it. And then, pop out to get...
It's more of a hotel than a house, but yeah.
You can build hotels in Minecraft too. Just saying.
Can confirm, but...
So Milkman's actually going to switch off here onto Reinhardt too to try to deal with this Roadhog. They know immediately what they have to do.
Yeah, they're right in there, but again, Legendary's just gonna fall. The hook comes through and Spadicy finishes them off. Now it's the Doomfist into the back. Milkman trying to get something done, but Spudhunter manages to clip them and actually get another one onto Friday there as well. So Milkman forced backwards. And this right here is Drip Council at full power.
One of the things, too, is that they swapped off of heroes that could actually effectively deal with the Torbjorn as well. I mean, they're just sitting up on a high ground with a turret. No real pressure coming towards them as well. And the fact that Ice Cream is still on this Ana to try to get value out of the Nano, too, which is what they originally came out of. Not sure if these are the right composition changes that are being made right here.
Well, here we go. You see the immense aggro coming on from Legendary here with a Nano Boost and manages to get a lot of kills from that engagement. 3, in fact, as Milkman's the only one who actually ends up falling. And it should just be a win here for Milkman. Of course, you do have Ice Cream falling, but that's the nature of a Roadhog composition. You're going to get stray picks like that. Should be a cap, though.
Yeah, that was actually kind of crazy how that happened. I really think that Drip Council could have played that better, where they could have been more spread out, unlike what they were doing, which was just playing on point, all on point, and then just get run over by the Nano Reinhardt. Okay, but yeah, this is definitely a start for Milkman here. Drip doesn't seem like they're going to be switching. If Drip can continue to play kind of this keep away game where, you know, Drip Council kind of, or Milk has to kind of stay on cart for the most part here, they can make this work, especially with Spudhunter up on the high ground here, just kind of
with that Mercy Pocket. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ults coming through here. It looks like that Flux will be responded to by a beat from Dejamu, so they're trying to keep their team alive, and here we go. Rika's going to end up falling there. Yeah, Friday manages to peel. It should just be a kill onto the Roadhog, finally getting some main tank revenge. And yeah, Milkmen definitely know what their win condition is now. Deal with Spudhunter and just play aggro onto Evil Lurk.
Exactly, kind of take a split prong kind of approach here where Spudhunter's not going to get a whole lot of value. I mean, there was a potential for like a Graviton Flux and Dragon combo, but unfortunately the pressure coming out from Friday was too much for Spudhunter to even try to manage there. And now you're kind of dealing with the situation 4 minutes 30 seconds on last point territory, and if they continue with this momentum, Milkman can easily finish.
Yep, here we go. That bomb doesn't actually catch too much other than zoning people off there for Friday. As Clyde might actually get caught out of position, but there's an eat onto the Dragon. Spudhunter getting no value out of that, but the High Noon comes through. Clyde taking advantage of the forward positioning the Drip Council, Milkman was putting up. And yeah, that's a nice 2k. Should end off the team fight nicely, and they'll stabilize on 3rd point here.
He built up that Deadeye real quick. It was almost impressive, actually. He had just swapped off onto the Cassidy like only moments ago, and he got that Deadeye that quick. That's kind of scary, actually, to be honest with you. But
yeah, absolutely.
Now coming in with Shatter, which is going to be really easy to land here without a shield on the enemy side.
Yeah, it should definitely be easy to land, but they're kind of being forced back by the Sand Matrix. That's a Whiffed Immortality? I'm not entirely sure what that was about from Horizon, but look at this flank. Spudhunter trying to force them to play aggro by just spamming into the backlines, and it works out here. Now the Shatter comes through, though. They'll end up catching Clyde, but can they convert that into a kill? There's not enough follow-up there. It was Milkman, actually. They just threw him into the air, and now you see the Nano Boost come through onto the Reinhardt. Legendary gonna start playing aggro. It's a Death Blossom on the sidelines as well that cleans up onto Clyde. Milkman traded out, but again, that's kind of the nature of Doomfist. But it should just be payload moving swiftly forward. And it'll come down to the stall fight coming up here with Horizon being staggered out late. It's going to be hard to win that for Drip Council, but look at this. I mean, that was a nice whole hog that comes through and actually takes someone off of the map, and the hook onto the D.Va as well allows for a stabilization. High Noon from Clyde, another 2 kills, consistently getting value out of those. And there we have it. Milkman kind of had that push stemmed there.
Yeah, he might have been able to actually save that Deadeye, honestly. There was only the 2 players that were kind of left, and you could have staggered them out a little bit as well. But definitely impressive stuff coming out from Clyde, kind of showing a bit of comeuppance for unfortunately missing that first map. So he's trying to put in the value now. Spudhunter's doing such amazing work on this Hanzo as well, providing constant damage, and this Dragon Strike has so much potential here, and it delivers.
Yup, it's right into the midst of them. Dejamu and Milkman end up falling to it. There's nothing they can do in that situation. You know, you saw Friday try and eat it, but couldn't quite happen there. And Drip Council, I mean, one ultimate to win a team fight and buy some time, that's brilliant.
Alright, now that Drip Council has like the appropriate amount of space to kind of play keep away and, you know, get value out of Spud and Clyde as well. They're definitely putting a stop to Milkman's aggressive push that was coming out on that second push. You know, Milkman is actually going to be switching over to the Genji, trying to kind of, you know, deal with both the Roadhog hook and also the double kind of hit scan being present here. Ooh, look at this bomb coming out. Is he going to catch anybody? No, not yet.
Yeah, tries to dislodge Spud Hunter and actually does pretty well at that as that engage comes through Legendary right up onto Horizon, just squashes them, ground pounding them into the dust. And even though that happens, I mean, Clyde still comes through with a kill onto Ice Cream, and Milkmen are being forced to get backwards. And they are managing to get a couple kills. I mean, there is that Hanzo there actually doing a lot, okie dokie, with 3 kills, but just not enough to even the stakes.
I've seen Milkman struggle getting value off of the Genji. I mean, they just have so many targets to look. You have the high ground with Spud, and then Evil Lurk and Clyde on the low ground as well. Who do you even go after in this situation? You can't easily go after somebody like Horizon and Rika because they both have kind of getaway options. They both have options. They both have options where they can, you know, survive and run away.
As a high noon coming through, Clyde again, just perfect positioning to catch 2 out, and Milkmen, they got 10 seconds remaining. They've got to either hard push or just try and wait for their stall heroes to come through, but it's not going to happen. I mean, Ice Cream going to get taken down there, and this should just be the cleanup coming through before anything can really happen from the stall push. Milkmen, their push will be stemmed right here on 3rd point, and you know, they had a good attempt, but it just wasn't executed correctly. That composition towards the end of the Ana Zen with the Genji Hanzo, I don't think it was like what they should have played at all.
Yeah, I mean, Nano Monkey with the Discord Orb is kind of in the right direction of what they should have been playing, but unfortunately if your DPS aren't generating much value on heroes like the Genji or the Hanzo, you're kind of dead out of luck there. Drip Council putting their Cassidy pick to work. I mean, every single Deadeye you saw from Clyde got a 2K, so I mean, pretty impressive stuff we saw there as well. So interested to see what's going to be happening now on the attack. Are we actually going to be seeing the Reinhardt now? Not sure. We'll soon find out. Actually, no, looks like
clearly not.
They want to play more bunkerish. I mean, I don't kind of...
Yeah, these are some unorthodox teams.
To be fair, though, like, if you're going up against somebody who wants to force this Roadhog, is this such a bad pick? I don't really think so.
No, I don't think so. I think Milkmen are well within their rights to play as Larissa Sigma. I kind of like this, you know, the Ashe Junkrat spams out the chokes. I mean, how did Drip Council really rotate in here? But it's just, I mean, these teams are playing really odd compositions. We saw the Hog Sig on Nepal and now on King's Row, and there's not been a single brawl. Like, I just don't understand it.
As long as it's, listen, I've been watching a lot of GGEU. As long as it's not Orisa Zarya, I'm okay with it. I'm gonna be honest. Like, any tank line besides Orisa Zarya, I'm okay with. I was still never.
I mean, I would take like Hog Diva over that, to be honest.
I mean, for sure, I would definitely take it. Trip actually is going to be coming out on more Spamish composition here, though. Spud onto the Pharah here. Going to be hard for them to kind of find value here. Okay, Clyde. Kind of need a better rollout than just walking up to the enemy's shield. Next time, buddy. Next time.
Yeah, you'll get it next time, champ. As Drip Council, again, they have to wait for their DPS now. They did get a lot of spam in from Spud Hunter there, and Clyde goes over to the Hanzo. So I kind of like these swaps that are coming through, lends itself a lot more to the spam style, but Spidaisi again falls. You can't be poking here if you're Drip Council. You have to be taking a rotation onto an off angle.
Yeah, for sure. The problem is getting to those off angles. They're getting in a lot of space right now, actually. What is the...
Yeah, they actually kill off Milkman too. That's massive, actually, as now they're pushing onto the Sigma. Friday going to get caught out. In fact, might get a kill? No, Clyde is going to be safe and healthy here. but Friday's doing a good job of staying alive. Is that Matrix? Not Matrix, sorry. Yeah, it'll be the Immortality Field to try and keep the Orisa alive, but it's just not enough. I mean, Spud Hunter, Clyde doing all of the damage there. And yeah, they cracked that open pretty quickly there for Drip Council.
That's exactly what you needed if you're on Drip Council as well. Just an early pick onto somebody who's really unsuspecting of it. I mean, Milkman was so close to having, you know, the tire, which is such an impactful ultimate, up and available. So, oh my gosh, Deja Vu just gets destroyed. I think the res is available, but, or maybe not. Yeah.
Is it even safe to go for, though, as everyone else might just take a bunch of damage? Look at that, the Junkrat taking a direct, and the barrage coming through as well. Spud Hunter with 3 kills there. I mean, this is just feeding to its maximum here for Milkman. They were in just a bad position to begin with.
Yeah, very nice awareness from Drip to try to take that aggressive house, especially with the ultimate kind of bank that Milkman has. Oh my gosh, they can't even do it. They can't even get out of spawn.
They're just trickling.
They're just trickling in. I mean, not even trickling in. They're trickling out of spawn into the aggressive forward hold that Drip Council has. It's just perfect from them.
Yeah, and it's made easier as well by the fact that even if Drip Council are pushed back, they can use ultimates. They can hold here for the rest of time if they wanted to, because they've got that Flux, they've got Dragon Strike, there's so much they can use here. Matrix going around the corner, but there's the Flux, there's the Dragon Strike, going to deal all the damage, and now he's got to break the Immortality Field. There we have it, but Spud Hunter falls before they can get any value out of that off angle, and Evil has to try and back up a little bit there, almost gets taken down, but there's the cap. Drip Council, 5 minutes on the clock, and they're pretty happy to just keep spamming in. They get the kill onto Okie Dokie, and this should just be, I mean, some aggression coming through, but there's the Bongo, there's the Flux. I think Milkmen have had it with the BS that's going on right now. Drip Council forced it back, but Evil Lug still gets an exit pick regardless.
I think that was actually the first time that Legendary and Friday popped their ults in this defensive round. Actually, they hadn't managed to use it. Nice little pull onto Evil Lurk, that infamous pit there, and yeah, they're pretty, like you said, they're pretty done with this. They just want to end this right now. But I mean, if you're on the side of Drip Council, you can't be too upset by the fact that you used all of your ultimates to get that second point nice and secure. That's really was your end goal now, and now you're just playing kind of, it's going to be difficult actually for them to continue pushing in with this composition. I think that's the reason why Spudacy actually switches over to the Sig, or no, actually no, they were on the Sig the entire time. It's just going to be difficult for them going up against Double Shield, trying to push into this narrow comp right here.
It is difficult, and here's the Ant Matrix from Milkman as well. That makes it even harder. Spudacy's gonna fall, and you can just keep on spamming out the squishies on that right side. That high ground that Okie Dokie has is so critical, and Evil Lurk just in the bag, peeled for. I mean, you can't really do much in terms of rotations here for Drip Council, and they're slowly just going to fall one by one as that Flux is invested. Spud Hunter catches Okie Dokie, so it's not a bad idea. There's another one as well. Spud Hunter looking to equalize this team fight. They are going crazy right now on the Hanzo. Going to take out the Ashe as well, and by the looks of it, there's a 4K. But is that even enough? A 4K and they still cannot win that team fight by the looks of things. Milkmen are still in position to try and hold this cart, and they're going to do it perfectly.
Yeah, so much support given to the two tanks of Milkmen as they push forward and deal with the rest of Drip. Unfortunately, just wasn't enough. Spudacy, the other Spud, unfortunately was not able to keep their team alive while Hunter just went in back. Yeah, that was almost a hard carry moment there. But, I mean, you have the potential for another one here as Dragon Strike is once again online. Maybe in combination with Whole Hog to get some nasty results.
Yeah, absolutely. And Evil looking to press up now. That Dragon Strike cuts the tank line off. And there's the Whole Hog. Just going to use it to force all those squishies back, keep them off the payload. As Dejamu does go for a little bit of a Hail Mary Ant Matrix to try and take out the Tracer. Actually manages to. Clyde is gonna fall. A Spud Hunter from the side takes out Okie Dokie, and this payload is getting dangerously close. Milkman are coming out on the stall heroes to try and turn this into their favor. Milkman, though, a bit out of position, gonna get taken down, and Spud Hunter yet again is just doing so much work on this Hanzo, looking to take out the ball as well. It is just kill after kill for Drip Council. There's the pulse bomb, gonna force that Ashe into a precarious position, and it should just be that payload going through to the checkpoint. And Drip Council even things up in this series. We've got a series on our hands here, Rudy, after that first map.
I mean, that first map was barely even a series, unfortunately, but
Yeah.
Drip Council, once now full powered, they have all 6 of the Voltron pieces. I think there's only 5, but I'm gonna say there's 6 anyways. All 6 of the Voltron pieces have been gathered finally at last, and they are able to make it look, give us what the Drip is all about.
Yeah,
Get out of here,
absolutely. I
dog.
mean,
What are you
they're
doing?
putting up an excellent performance here. I mean, I like that first map was kind of, just unlucky for them, right? You could say, because Drip Council, they were making it close, and they kind of showed us that they could still be in the series even if they weren't fully there, and now they are fully here and they've won a map. I mean, it goes to show that there is the potential for them to actually take this series against the Milkmen. So we're about to see this comparison between the Baptistes on that map, and I mean, those Baptistes were really critical. There were a lot of whiffed immortalities that we were mentioning, and a lot of interesting positioning where Horizon or Dejimi would get taken down, but I mean, it was Horizon playing it for a lot longer, and actually the stats seem to be a little bit better for Horizon, bar that healing.
Yeah, I mean, Horizon was playing mostly a composition where, or no, not Horizon, but Drip Council were playing mostly a composition where they had a little less protection for their tanks. Had to, keep their Roadhog alive more often. So Horizon was playing sort of like more of a scuffed game where they were kind of, making sure that their main tank, their kind of hard carry, was alive and well at all times. They didn't really have to worry too much about the DPS because they got the Mercy Pocket for most of that time. But I mean, the damage being put through as well from Horizon, and the defensive assists as well definitely paint them. I mean, they were putting in a lot of work just damage wise as well, because that's one of the things you have to do as Baptiste as well, especially when you're not worrying too much about healing, more just like keeping people alive with the immortality field. So definitely going to be interested to see how these two compare moving forward in the series, especially since we do sort of have this compositional difference that we're observing right now, where Evil Lurk just feels like Hog today. This is just one of his Hog's days.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like that compositional difference is something to keep an eye on going forward into this series. But speaking of going forward, we'll be going into a short break here to allow the teams to have a bio break, for us to have a bio break. So don't go anywhere, just about 5 minutes till we have the rest of the series coming to you.
Standing on the edge of my time, everything I know will be gone in a minute, and that's alright. Running through the last of my thoughts, standing on the edge of my time, everything I know will be gone in a minute, and that's alright, 'cause I'm free.
Welcome everybody back to GitGud EU. We are in the midst of an interesting series, we'll call it that, Rudy, as we are 1-1 between Drip Council and Milkmen. Bound to be a good series to say the least. For the rest of it anyway, as it was a pretty close King's Row, and not so close in Nepal, but now we're on to Junkertown. So this is going to lend itself to maybe some of the compositions we've been seeing so far.
Yeah, this series is about to get a whole lot more interesting with this Junkertown pick coming from the side of Milkmen, actually. And, you know, they were running a bit of the bunker, definitely on King's Row. So we might see a little bit more of that coming out in Junkertown. I just want to give people context in case they're just tuning in. I mean, the reason it was only 0-2 on Nepal is because they were Drip Council was literally missing a player. So they had to play that map 5v6, and one of them was still pretty close. There was still a 99-99 on one of the points. So, I mean, Drip Council definitely playing this to win, despite the fact that they might have played map 1 without a 6th. But now they're full powered. They showed their strength on King's Road. Not playing Reinhardt, by the way. Playing mostly Roadhog. So we'll see if they continue this pattern going into Junkertown, where, I mean, shields are kind of... Either you're playing shield-heavy compositions or you're playing, you know, kind of a Wrecking Ball fast-paced dive composition.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see either Wrecking Ball or the shields that we've been seeing the entire time, which seems to be it. I mean, Milkmen are the ones actually bringing out the Sig Hog this time around, and it looks like Drip Council have kind of realized, okay, Junkertown, we might have to play a double shield, so we'll have Evil Lurk over onto that Orisa rather than the usual Roadhog.
What is interesting, however, I think we did actually have a sub come in, because Spilt Milk is in for Milkmen, so just doubling the milk that is on this team, so probably some sort of power-up when you have the double milk, and then also, I mean, they're playing Roadhog, which is the exact same set, I mean, kind of mirroring too, so I'm not sure if this is like a counter strategy, or if this is something that they intended to do all along. I'm up for it, though.
Yeah, the only non-dairy related name now is Okie Dokie, who is on that Widowmaker, so potentially the standout player both in name and in... Yeah, I
didn't even notice that they all had milk names. What the heck? I dare
Yeah, but Spud Hunter removing one of those, so now it's only 4, but there we go, Okie Dokie being the standout, taking them out, and potentially cracking this open for the offense, forcing that res either way from Rika, as Legendary has an interesting rollout. Look at this! That is fancy, and now can just go for this roll around on the back side, maybe get a couple people out of position. There's the power drive, and should allow for a kill or two, but no follow-up there from the rest of the team.
It allowed for a little bit of cart pushing to be happening. Also, Milkman is now going to be on this kind of side angle, and they're actually going to close in on Evil Lurk here, but Ice Cream goes down. They do have spawn advantage, though, so they will be able to get back into the fight relatively easily.
Yeah, should be able to here as Legendary wants to get this high ground control and really actually pester out this Hanzo on the side angle. Look at that, Spud Hunter trying to assassinate Okidoki. And actually doesn't succeed. Instead, it's Spite and Dejamu that will end up falling. So there's the disruption now from Legendary, but oh, they're gonna get taken down. Unfortunately, didn't have enough health to go in on that, but Okidoki is there to try and bail them out, forces that res out again with the kill onto Spud Hunter. But the res back up and they can still fire these shots, still get the kills through, and Milkman's in a bit of a odd position here. Might have to sacrifice their life to get out.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Milkman actually kind of playing a bit of a hard game here. They're trying to contest, you know, double shield. Actually, Evil Lurk once again back on the Roadhog. He has seen the challenge and he has accepted it. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top. Right now, it's Spudacy that's claiming all the lives here instead of the Killer Hogs.
Yeah, exactly, and I mean that's a kill onto Ice Cream that forces Milkman even more back, and you know 2 minutes have passed and there's not really been a big fight so far. We've had a couple of support ults here and Drip Council, but there's not really been a clear engagement for Milkman yet.
Their positioning is too strong. They haven't been really challenged in any sort of way. Okidoki's finding these picks, and unfortunately there's just no advancement from the rest of the team, but that's definitely going to be something that helps them out a little bit.
Yep, there we go. There's the assassination kill onto Rika with the pulse bomb, and a couple of kills coming through from Legendary to end that team fight off. That was pretty quick, concise, used a good few ultimates for it, but it paid off in the end.
You don't see the nano ball very often. A lot of faith going into your main tank player actually to put the nano onto them, but hey, they made it work, you know, canceling out the Dragon Strike as well that was coming out from Spud Hunter. Bit of an inopportune moment to use it, but I mean, Legendary responds perfectly to that. And now, oh my gosh, kind of pushing forward from Spudacy here a little bit. Dejamu gets caught out, doesn't have the shield to hide behind.
Dejamu gonna end up falling, and you lose the Discord there, so you're not gonna be able to force anyone back. Drip Council are gonna close in on your position and really force away from that payload. There's the hook though. Spud Hunter kept alive by Horizon.
So
yeah, that would have been beautiful, but Horizon is there, the superior Baptiste. In fact, the only Baptiste on the board, sorry. As Okidoki gets a kill onto Spud Hunter, res straight back up, and Rika actually frags out onto Okidoki. That's their second final blow of this map. As they're going to go on the side here and look for the Zenyatta as well. Here we go. Can they get the assassination? Horizon steals the kill, but let's just say that Rika got that for the sake of it.
Yeah, we'll give Rika kind of the honorary kill. Kind of just go into the game files afterwards and tamper them a little bit. It'll be fine. Nobody will notice. Milkman trying to get some sort of flank going on here. He sees that everybody's kind of up on this high ground, so wants to, you know, kind of flank around the side here. Is he going to get caught out? Spud Hunter sees him.
Yeah, Ice Cream's the first one to fall here, so Evil Lurk doing good work on the Roadhog, and I think a wasted pulse bomb there from Milkman as they're trying to get out of their life, but it doesn't quite happen there. Horizon takes him down with the fist to the face. Good old Glasgow's classic, I suppose. And yeah, there should just be a stabilization again from Drip Council. They're happy to just hold this high ground up close.
I like how the stats guy momentarily had the Ice Cream stats up on the screen there, but quickly took them away when Ice Cream died early in that fight. Clearly had lost respect for them and no longer wanted to highlight them. Unfortunately,
yeah, I mean, that's personal grudge. We'll say that much. But there we go. Oh my lord, spilt milk, and Dejamu actually going to be forced away off that high ground. And yeah, I mean, Evil Lurk's going to end up falling, but it still looks superior here for Drip Council, as long as they can keep Rika alive. But there we go. Gets taken down by Legendary. And now the Flux in retaliation. Spadaisi wants to try and turn things into their favor, and there's a couple of players actually very low on HP for Milkmen, but can it be converted into a teamfight win? It doesn't look like it. Okidoki's going to end up getting a couple of kills to even the score. It should end up being them just pushing the payload forward now.
You know you're in desperation mode when Nano Roadhog seems like the way to go in terms of trying to even get out of the spawn area. But I mean, they make it work. He kind of acts like a miniature Reinhardt in that sense, where he just kind of absorbs all that damage. And that's really all you needed to try to actually get in there. Okidoki doing some work on that Hanzo, where it's really been Spud Hunter's hero to kind of shine on. But they will engage with the Dragon. Not going to find anybody out. But Horizon trying to desperately to build up this this amp matrix here, but it looks like they don't need it.
Yeah, a good couple kills here coming through. Drip Council just straight up didn't need too much there to win that fight. And there's actually a kill there onto Clyde from the off angle, but Dejimi will get punished for that. And now 10 seconds remaining. Legendary over onto the Monkey. So it's going to have to be, I believe, Milkman touching from the sidelines here, but they're being chased down. Look at that on the right side. Clyde forcing them away. It'll be the D.Va that gets onto it here. Spill and Milk. In fact, gonna try and touch again, it looks like here. But this Amage is gonna force a lot of players back.
Oh, you can see just how nasty Horizon is to getting all these headshots on there, making it so difficult for anybody to be able to get in to contest this card. The D.Va unmech'd here, Dragon Strike in desperation. You know what? Have one of your own as well. I don't even need it to win this team fight. But yeah, that was some impressive work overall from Drip Council. Going to be stopping it right before that second checkpoint, which is a fantastic point to stop it on. You really don't want to have it go all the way to third point because that's where things kind of get messy for defenders. But, I mean, great work from Horizon, especially as I saw Spudacy putting in some work as well. These two Spuds that are on Drip Council definitely counteracting the strong dairy vibes from Milkman.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's doing some work on the Sigma, especially.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, Drip Council, I mean, to stabilize and hold there on second point of Junket Town is great for them because, you know, they were kind of being rolled earlier on in the series and now they're coming back into this. They have a very clear and very achievable win condition now as well, you know. Just get it to first point and then 74 meters into second. It's not too difficult. As long as they can execute correctly on this offense, which, I mean, with Evil going over to this Roadhog, so again, they're going with the classic stuff they enjoy to play, as well as Horizon back on this Baptiste, who has been an excellent player, I want to say, as well, just keeping everyone alive at the right moment. With all that talent on their main roles, or main heroes, I suppose, their comfort heroes, it's going to be pretty achievable for Drip Council to win this map out.
Yeah, Milkman actually gonna be on the pulled pork comp here, which might be difficult for Legendary, but actually might not be because, okay, I was about to say Spud was on that Junkrat for some ungodly reason. I'm not sure why you would ever pull out a Junkrat on Junkertown. But they've swapped over to the Hanzo, the much more appropriate pick, and it's gonna mean that this the shields from Legendary are going to be cut down so early. I mean, just look at this. They have no shields to work with.
Yeah, and Milkman just being forced back and back. I mean, they're going to try and push up onto Evil here, who really has to be careful not to let themselves die, as their comrade does end up falling there of Milkman, actually. They have an attempt to hook there onto Spud Hunter, but was patient enough to wait that out, and pretty smart play, gives them the positioning. And Drip Council are just going to stop slowly choking out Milkmen here. I mean, they're kind of in this position where they can't back out, but they can't hard engage either. When you'll see Evil come in here with the damage onto the Orisa, takes him down. Spud Hunter and Rika have fallen, however, but it's still looking decent here with Evil just in the front lines, dealing all this damage, actually getting forced back by the Baptiste, but solo ulting them. And this isn't the greatest position for Evil but it does get converted into a kill onto the Widowmaker and to the Arna, so Dicey is there to kind of bail them out, and should be a 1v1, yeah, exactly.
Oh, no.
It'll be Hanzo actually returning there, but they can actually kill off Baptiste with this. There we go, they tried to mortality themselves, but good follow-up coming through, and Drip Council should get the first point.
Yeah, Okidoki actually managing to save a bit of his team there with the picks onto, and I'd be really interested to see the stats, not only from Evil Lurk here on the Roadhog, which is obviously impressive. I'd be pretty okay to see the stats with Spilt Milk here as well. See the Roadhog comparison maybe between these two, but I mean, Evil Lurk is just, I think from the eye test alone, is clearly pulling ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Evil definitely superior tank here, but I mean, we'll end up seeing what they decide to do about this Winston composition now. They can just kind of sit around and wait for it to dive, but not in this position. I mean, Clyde immediately falls. The Roadhog can't do too much about that as Legendary with 2. Cleans up the fight pretty much single-handedly. They might actually get taken down by the Mercy there. There's a third kill for Rika to add to their collection, and Horizon revs back up, so Drip Council still completely okay here. And there we have it. I mean, that should just be the payload rolling forward yet again.
Milkman tried so hard to get away from that situation, unfortunately. Normally, Reaper, matches up very well against a hero like the Roadhog, but unfortunately, this isn't any any old Roadhog player, this is Evil Lurk, and he is on another level. I mean, whole hog here as well. I mean, can you even touch if you're Milkman when you're just staggering out all your players one by one? The aggression is just too powerful.
Yeah, and I mean, this is basically just the map win here for Drip Council. I mean, they're gonna, try and get some extra flags here with Rika as well. Rika tried it, but they've already gotten 2 extra kills in that team fight anyway. There we have it. And Drip Council, well, they're on match point now after a slow start. They've really ramped it up off of the back of Evil Lurk, Clyte, Spud Hunter, and Horizon as well. They're all contributing massively to this, as well as Rika in their own unique way.
I mean, Rika, the bloodthirsty Mercy, coming
who has
out
died in this
with
play of the game.
kills. I mean, that was just, the blood. They weren't thirsty enough yet at that point in the game, but they eventually got there. But yeah, I mean, this is really dominant for Drip Council right now. I really do feel like they have the momentum going forward. This Roadhog composition is working wonderfully for them, and Milkmen, for their credit, they're trying to adapt. They're throwing new things at it. They tried the Roadhog of their own. They're trying the Bap Ana to try to get more value. Maybe, anti the Roadhog in order to try to contest him in some way. But unfortunately, it's just not working. The 2 Spuds are supporting their Roadhog beautifully, I should say. And we got actually a little bit of a comparison between 2 of the tanks here, or both of the Drip Council tanks, so kind of seeing the damage that each of them are putting in. I mean, it's just, if Spud Hunter's not getting the kill, it's definitely one of these 2.
Yeah, I mean, look at the eliminations, look at the final blows for Evil Lurk as well. Almost matched by Spidicy, though, actually, which is surprising.
Spidicy only died 2 times? There's no way.
That's not surprising. A Sigma doesn't
was that on
often
defense
die.
only?
No, this was the entire thing. Yeah.
Well, actually, yeah, if you're playing more junk, one of Sigma's main weaknesses is, aggression from like dive or rush compositions. But since Junkertown is, we didn't really see a whole lot of that. It's mostly just spam. I guess Sigma is able to kind of, survive a lot easier with, his eat and his shield as well. But we are going to be going on to map number 4 in this series, and it is actually going to be Volskaya Industries, a lot of people's favorite assault maps. I know you and I personally disagree on which is the best one. You have just insane opinion.
Listen, I have base takes. Okay, we'll call them that.
Yeah, okay, that's a word for it.
If we're talking factual information here, Volskaya, probably one of the more popular ones. But, coming into this, I mean, as well, it kind of lends itself to the teams and their kind of styles. I think we're just going to see more Hog, more Mirror Sigmas, whether that's accompanied by the Orisa or by the Hog, or we saw some Orisa Hog being put out there as well on Junkertown, but didn't quite work out for the team that played it. So I do think we're just going to stick to like the kind of Sigma-based comps.
Yeah, spam seems to be the way to go when it comes to Volskaya. You got a inordinate amount of high ground on both point A and point B that you can just plunk either a Hanzo or even a Widowmaker if you still want to continue to play her. Obviously, it's kind of a niche pick other than on Junkertown, but I mean, you could still play even something like an Ashe as well. A lot of options. Maybe pull out the Pharah as well. I know that Drip Council was kind of leaning towards that Pharah pick a little bit on King's Row. They could pull it out once again here on Volskaya. I mean, a lot of options, but I definitely don't see either of these, or I don't see Drip Council switching off of the Roadhog. I can see Milkman trying to make an adjustment, but I think Drip is solely in the Hog copium at this point, and it's working out for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Drip Council, they're relying heavily on Evil Lurk's Roadhog here just to carry them through some of the fights they probably shouldn't be winning. And, they could combine that with the Pharah, like you said. They did try that on King's Row, and it went pretty well for them. So I wouldn't be opposed to it, to be honest. And Volskaya isn't it's not an awful map for Pharah. There are a lot of rooftops you can utilize, a lot of off angles, lots of different positions you can take as a Pharah, especially on first point, I think, as well, where you can just hold people at the choke with Pharah. I think in lower ranks that more happens, but it's definitely feasible here, so we'll end up seeing now a few seconds till we figure out what they are actually going to run.
Cue the Roadhog in 2, 1. Actually, no. They're okay. They're not pulling it out yet. They're not pulling it out. Actually, they're gonna be pulling out the double shield. Spud Hunter, but the thing to notice here is that Spud Hunter is still on the Hanzo, so you still have that X factor that you've kind of been having all game, where Spudacy and Spud Hunter definitely are going to be the 2 players to look out for. And Horizon has full kind of their amp matrix can be used not only for themselves now, but now for the entirety of the team, given that Trip Council makes the correct rotations as well. And it looks like Milkman is also going to be going for more rush, so no Roadhog, unfortunately. We might see it later, but for now it's pretty solidly bunker versus rush sort of composition here.
Yeah, absolutely, and I kind of like this matchup more for Drip Council, to be honest, because they can just sit here and get a pick off onto Ice Cream or Dejamu or Okidoki, who are all kind of susceptible targets to the kills coming through from the insta-kills from the Hanzo, the Ashe. And Drip Council are going to have to play for their rotations, like you said, though. I mean, they kind of have to force Milkman back before Milkman get to them. As you see that happening here as well, Milkman are going to rotate away from that high ground position.
Yeah, I actually was kind of expecting them to go the other way, but this way works too. Maybe you want to get control of the Mega. I mean, but you are going to be right underneath sort of the main setup that Drip Council has here, and so far it's pretty even in terms of which team is ahead.
Yes, but Icy is going to fall alongside Milkman, so 2 down, sorry, 1 down on both sides, but there we go, now it's 2 down on both sides, as now Drip Council have to try and drop onto the point and contest that before a tick is gained by Milkman, but I mean, it's just going to be Evil getting spammed out here. I mean, they're in a very open position where they can be just shot at by Okidoki and other players as well, but it's just not quick enough, not enough focus fire there to kill off the Orisa, and it looks like Milkman will end up losing out on that first fight. They're not playing fast enough, in my opinion. They need to go for that backline with everything they've got.
Yeah, I mean, they could have definitely, they had an opportunity to do so. Unfortunately, they decided to focus fire on the Orisa instead. But when you're dealing with, both an Orisa, who's one of the most, solid tanks in the game at staying alive, and also just the double main heals of both the Mercy and the Baptiste pocket as well. I mean, one thing that you do kind of, if you're on the side of Milkman, you're happy that both support ultimates were used in that fight as well. So you're going to be able to engage either with the Coalescence or something else as well. Visor could also be fantastic in this next team fight as well. And but Bongo is also an option here for Evil Lurk. So any kind of aggression that Milkman tries to go for might be canceled out by the Bongo.
Yeah, and look at this. I mean, everyone is so split up here for Milkman as they go for the coal engage. They're actually going to take out Rika with that one alongside the micro missiles from Spilt Milk, and it should just be a win here for Milkman. They've got the pick advantage, and now they're going to convert that into a teamfight win through taking out these players on the high ground. They're not going down without a fight here, it looks like, as that cleanup comes through. And they actually do that with minimal ultimates as well. Only 2 had to be invested. That's brilliant for them.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, I feel like Spud Hunter was caught a little bit out of aware there, kind of pushed forward in front of his team rather than behind. Unfortunately, Enrica gets caught out as a result as well. So now they're coming in with a pretty comfortable ult advantage and early aggression coming in. Actually, I wasn't even finished my sentencing.
Yeah, I mean, they use the beat, they use the bomb, they're right in there, and here's the Primal Rage as well. It's gonna force the Doomfist away. Can they get booped off the map? It looks like it. Oh my lord, Legendary just focusing that one player down, taking him out of the fight. And that was a quick engage that leads to a team kill and potentially a full cap as well. You're going to see Drip Council go over to some heroes that can potentially stall, but who's going to be there? Nobody, in fact, as Kalaite gets killed right on the return. And Milkmen, they figured themselves out in those last 2 team fights. I mean, that was immense.
Yeah, love the aggression coming forward there, especially since Drip was kind of on like a weird composition where they kind of were playing all individual heroes. Evil Lurk went back on the Roadhog, Clyde was on the Doomfist. I think no matter what I mean, you might have been able to, you know, abate the aggression a little bit if you had continued playing that bunker, but you know, the aggression and also the ultimates from Milkman were just perfect to try to capture that point quickly, which is exactly what they did. I do gotta say, Legendary's Winston mechanics pretty clean from the Primal Rage that we saw a little bit right there. Pretty clean. You don't see that a whole lot often when in the lower ranks, like below Masters, but that was pretty nice.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it was more just like focusing down the one player of Clyde and hitting him off the map.
No, if that was me, I would have pressed shift and like they were right next to the edge. I would have gone off the map. If that was me. So I'm just saying.
It's more discipline than problem mechanics. We'll call it that.
Yeah, maybe they're just actually good at the game.
Yeah, I mean, both of these teams are good at the game. I mean, Milkman, they definitely put up a good performance there, and now we'll be seeing if they can do the same on their own defense. Drip Council are coming out on that Pharah, so maybe they heard our wishes, they heard our cries, and perhaps they can actually make something good out of this. Milkman are going to be very separated because, well, you can't play together against a Pharah like you would want to initially in this composition. But Legendary immediately so low. Might even get taken down here. Look at them, just the health pool is failing. And yeah, there we go. It'll be Eviluk getting that kill. Clyde's gonna get a Dejamu, and that should just be a cap. That was very anticlimactic, but Drip Council are in there.
That's actually like the best thing that Spud could have gone after was the Soldier in that situation, because Soldier is the only hero that's kind of able to deal with them in this composition that that Milkman was putting out there. So definitely some good stuff. Even if they didn't do that much damage, definitely opened the way for the rest of the team to kind of function. You know, Milkman being taken down early as well. So very fast push onto point number B here. 6 minutes to go, and I mean, at this point, you just got to stack ultimates, and I think you're good. But Milkmen have a pretty solid composition that they're playing right here with the Sombra Winston Rush.
Yeah, it deals with Clyde or Eviluk pretty effectively. Get rid of a lot of the sustain that can be used by Eviluk, but Legendary falling first yet again. I mean, this is just so unfortunate here for Milkman. They're going to have to try and come up with a clutch play, but they've got no ultimates to do so. You'll see a hack come through onto Clyde, but they're just being kept alive in the back. And there will be a kill onto Eviluk, but maybe Riken can get the res through. There's a Meteor Strike up in the front. It'll be actually Clyde falling, so overextending ever so slightly. Spudhunter going to try and, you know, even the score up a little bit here, but can they kill off the Soldier? No, they cannot. Okie dokie getting that kill through. And not even a tick gained there for Drip Council. They fumbled that.
Yeah, for sure. Just wasn't enough priority onto the low health targets that were kind of hiding near spawn. I also feel like Milkman was doing a pretty good job of just kind of pestering from them from the backside. Clyde gets hacked up there, isn't able to do anything if you're a Doomfist and you're hacked, so that allows for you know, the rest of the tanks like Evilurk to kind of be pinned down there, unfortunately. Spudhunter does have this barrage though, but I think it's going to be really hard to use up against Visor and Coalescence, and Beat as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Milkmen, I mean, the massive ultimates they have, they should be able to just straight up win this. The Flux comes through, and Spadice is going to catch Spilt Milk with that. They're going to be forced off that high ground and actually almost taken down by the Coalescence. Immortality Field just saved them in the nick of time. But there's the Rocket Barrage, actually. Spudhunter taking down Dejamu in the middle of that beat. And the EMP cancelled as well. 2 ultimates cancelled up there by Spudhunter. But it'll still be Milkmen winning out the team fight. They still have the pick advantage, but not for long as Spudhunter. 5 kills, looking for the 6th one onto Legendary as well. That's a 6k and a half, cancelling 2 ultimates in the midst of it. And this should just be a win for Drip Council, but their sides come through. Spudhunter's going to end up falling, and okie dokie on the return saves Milkman. They just didn't have the players necessary for Drip Council, and wow, a 6k that doesn't win a team fight. I mean, that was just like what happened on King's Row all over again.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, really. I mean, just Spud Hunter had the right idea there with the barrage and getting all those extra kills. Unfortunately, I think Deja Vu gets caught out, catches out Rika as well, which allows for the rest of the team to follow up and quickly catch out Spud Hunter. I mean, that's unfortunate that you don't even get a
go
tick
again.
in that
Spud Hunter.
situation.
Ball is caught out by Okidoki, and the res has to be used. And really, the Soldier's been immense at just dealing with Spud Hunter and keeping them back. And I mean, clutching up that fast team fight. You see the bomb come through, Spilt Milk gonna get into the midst of things and really just force everyone back onto the low ground for Drip Council. He has used Immortality as well, so they still can't make too much space, can't make too much ground here. As Milkman almost ends up falling, they have to be super careful, but Legendary has to be even more careful, clearly, as they get taken down. So does Spilt Milk, and this should just be the cap coming through for Drip Council. They've got the pick advantage, and thankfully not a lot of their players are falling, I was about to say, but 3 of them are down, and their res comes through, so Rika trying to keep a couple of them back into the team fight. There's the barrage to take down Okidoki, finally dealing with that Soldier. And now, I mean, the EMP comes through, so the re-engage might be good for Milkmen, but Legendary doesn't get the Primal Rage off in time. They just built that up, and it will be Spilt Milk on the sidelines getting taken out. The side's last-ditch effort to try and get back onto this. They'll be kind of whittling down the time bank, though, so Milkmen are pretty happy they're able to recontest this, and now the Primal Rage comes through. So Legendary's still on this point, and it's just a time buy.
Horizon went down, which is so unfortunate. You really could have used that extra heals, especially now that the players are coming back in with ultimates, but I think Drip Council is doing a good enough job with Focus Fire here in order to be able to find something here. Horizon actually came back on the Lucio to try to, you know, just help out his team just a little bit. He does go down, but I think the rest of the team is pretty comfortable just sitting there, continuing. Oh my god, Rika's doing such a good job of keeping all these players alive, especially coming out. It's just the panic from Milkmen trying to, well, not panic necessarily. I think they just want to, you know, get the time down as much as humanly possible. But the haste, yeah, maybe, you know what, maybe I should use your dictionary next time. But yeah, they do actually manage to whittle down the time a lot there.
Yeah, it's ironic that you mentioned dictionaries as well. My my webcam is currently propped up on a Spanish dictionary, so quite ironic.
Oh, that's the wrong language, Toasty.
Yeah, wrong language.
Well,
I wish I
not the
could cast
wrong
in Spanish, but but yeah, I mean it was a good stall there from Milkmen. They took off like a minute or something like that. So Drip Council certainly are in a kind of a disadvantaged position now because they got the worst time bank. They're going to be attacking first. They are the ones having to set the win condition for Milkmen to end up living up to, potentially. And this could be where Milkmen actually take that second map and bring us to a map 5.
I just kicked my computer. I was really afraid there for a second that something was going to go horribly wrong. Thankfully, I'm still alive. It was scary too because it was the glass side of the computer. I was really there's no cracks. Okay, we're good. Yeah,
it's not. If it's shattered.
I almost had a quite situation from map number 1 right there where I just would have just DC'd out of there. Would have had to solo cast for the rest of the map.
Yeah, rest of the map, potentially the rest of the match as well. I mean, Drip Council, they've got the opportunity to maybe set a blitzing attack here, as long as they can make use of Spud Hunter and Clyde. I don't understand the Doomfist pick here from them, especially considering it doesn't do too much about Milkman or Okidoki, but I mean, Okidoki is still uncontested in this kind of, is this a hotel? I'm not entirely sure, I've never casted this part of the map before, but there we go, they get taken down, and now Milkmen are kind of all over the place. Rika's going to end up falling to the Moira, so a bit of a support diff coming through there, and actually evens things up so that Okidoki has time to return it from a spawn. But here's a damaged Spud Hunter, look at the rockets coming through. They end up taking down Dejamu, and it will be Ice Cream falling as well. So Drip Council, like I said, I mean, I was kind of joking when I said they could make a blitzing time bank, but they really can do this. I mean, look at this. They're going to get the kill onto Legendary in the Mega Room as well, and they'll get the cap up, so they'll have at least 1 point to their name.
I mean, you were wondering what the Doomfist pick was all about. Fortunately, it worked out that Okidoki just happened to be in a small, enclosed area where Doomfist will actually work against them. So yeah, I mean, Drip Council, thankfully, I mean, they are, I mean, that's such a great thing that they managed to actually get the first point have a chance to maybe complete second point. You do have the barrage available here, as well as the Ant Matrix from Horizon, so a lot of options here to try to engage. And looks like the barrages might come out a little bit early as they try to hunt for Okie Dokie. Fight goes down early.
Yeah, there it is though. They're gonna catch Spilt Milk. Can't quite track him with the Matrix, but it's just a little bit too late there for Spud Hunter. Not enough damage, not enough time to even do that. Everyone else just ended up falling to the aggressive push of Milkman. And this should, I mean, with the extra stagger onto Evil Lurk as well, should result in them having to swap to stall heroes. Clyte or Spadici or Rika will end up having to touch it.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely going to have to touch here. He really could have used that whole hog if he had just stayed alive, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, there's not even any point here. I mean, there is a point. You got to fight, but realistically speaking, there's not a point here. Would have liked to have at least a tick or two, but a lot of ultimates, yeah. Would have liked to have at least a tick or two here going into to point number 2, but unfortunately, but you still got the first point. You still accomplished some of your objective, and now you just gotta hold for 3 minutes 30 seconds, which is doable. It just depends on what composition they actually come out with.
It is doable. I think Drip Council have to kind of drop this very scrappy Doomfist Pharah. I think they need Spud Hunter on that Hanzo. I think they just got to play Orisa Sigma, Spud Hunter on the Hanzo, Clyte onto some other hero, not entirely sure what, but something that works without Orisa Sigma potentially. But no, they're not going to do that. They're going to go to a rush. Is this to hold at the choke and prevent that? Is to prevent? Is it this to prevent the monkey from getting into position for a dive? Maybe to just play up.
I mean, yeah. I would imagine so. I mean, they saw that the monkey was prominent in the first attacking round, so maybe they're kind of anticipating that as well. Clyde is actually going to be on the Mei as well, so I mean, this could work. I don't think this is a bad choice whatsoever, especially if you're not feeling too comfortable on the bunker, not feeling too comfortable on your ability to get value out of Spud. Putting Evil Lurk on a carry hero like the Reinhardt could work in your advantage. We don't know. But what I do know is that Milkman is going to have a little bit of an easier time to try to get value. All he needs to do is to get an EMP. And he probably won the fight.
It's a massive win condition to have here for Milkman, and they've already gotten into the back. Legendary will end up falling though, as well as that shot onto Okie Dokie. And they should be able to peel for Milkman there as well. Probably know where the Translocator is, but that was a good start there, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean the DPS putting in some work there, Spud Hunter for sure. I mean, his Hanzo play has been excellent all series, so now they're really going to try to... Milkman actually making some adjustments here, too. Okie Dokie onto the Pharah, so they see that there's no, true hit scan, and so they go onto that projectile hero. I like it. I like your discernment of true hit scan there, because Spud Hunter can still hit shots onto that Pharah, just not as effectively as perhaps the cast. It's not as reliable.
Yeah, not as reliable, but Legendary... One thing that's reliable here is how often they're falling at the start of these team fights. If we had stats for that, I guarantee Legendary would have the biggest first death win percentage in this fight.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, kind of a staple in Winston compositions where Winston goes in and sometimes he just gets blown up. Sometimes it's not the fault, but yeah, Legendary's been doing it a little much in this series. And now you have ultimates to work with on the side of Drip Council before anything else. I don't even know if Okie Dokie can even go in here to use this barrage that they built up.
Oh, that is a lovely Dragon Strike though. It kind of deals a lot of damage that really Milkmen cannot deal with. Spud Hunter gets a kill onto the Pharah, so proving us wrong when we said it's going to be an unreliable way to kill them off. As they freeze up the Mercy there, but Dejimu will stay alive. There's the Blizzard coming through, the barrage into the back though. Rika and Horizon end up falling. It's down to whether there's follow-up on this Blizzard, as it will be Milkman falling, and there's the bomb into the back as well, but it doesn't really catch too much. Drip Council slowly but surely are going to be falling here. It's all about whether they can stall this first point out and really make it a draw on the second point now, because that's what it comes down to now, loss or draw.
It's going to be really difficult to try to stall this first point. I mean, D.Va is alive, thankfully, to try to recontest here. They can.
Yeah, they have a Shatter as well. Evil Lurk can maybe come back and do something with a shatter. They are going to be stunned up there, but they have the opportunity to get a shatter onto 2 people. That's massive, actually. Almost got to spilt milk, and Dejamu and Milkman are going to fall. Drip Council are coming back into this and actually making the hold happen. Spadicy's going to get demech, but that is not enough here for Milkman. And yeah, they get 2 ticks in a bit, but they're in the last fight now pretty much. And that was a brilliant recontest from Drip Council to give them opportunities to win it here.
The drip is coming online. The Dragon Ball Z music is slowly starting to play. The final boss. Drip Council wants to make it to grand finals. They want to have that chance to at least be the runner-ups and potentially be champions here. All that stands between them, and that is potentially just an ultimate from Milkman here. 20 seconds. So much to work with here. Can they do it? They make a beeline for the point, but Milkman gets cut out.
Evil Lurk in a bad position, though, has to be kept alive, but Rika's taken down Legendary. That is so good here for Drip Council, and there will have to be a barrage in the back from Okidoki, but who is going to touch the point? Someone's trying to get onto it. Milkman manages to in just the nick of time, as it's a bomb from Spadicy, catches 2, that is huge! Drip Council are going to be winning this one out, they're winning the series right here and now. They're going to be the ones heading off to the grand finals as soon as they take out Legendary here. That Primal Rage will come through, but unfortunately that's just a little bit too last ditch. And there we have it. Drip Council, the ones going to the grand finals. They'll have the opportunity to go against Diamond Pack potentially in that rematch we were talking about before, so definitely some storylines to be had here. But congratulations to Drip Council for becoming at least a guaranteed 2nd place now. I mean, what a way to do it as well. They came back with a recontest. They came back and managed to actually win the series off of that as well. If they didn't make that recontest happen, this would not be happening right now.
Oh yeah, that recontest was pretty was crazy actually. I think it has to do with the fact that, you know, the D.Va stayed alive and they knew exactly what they needed to do. And I mean, it's pretty easy to get a shatter off on a Winston composition, especially one that's kind of panicking, trying to, you know, prioritize taking control of the point over flat out winning the team fight. So great use of, you know, what they had there. I mean, Evil Lurk, on whether it was on the Reinhardt or it was on the Roadhog, he was putting in that hard, hard energy, like hard carry main tank energy. And then the double spud, I'm telling you, it was that double spud. Both of them got like 2 or 3 kills in that last team fight as well. Spud Hunter, actually, we see a little bit of Spud Hunter stats as well on the Pharah. Definitely, he was doing a lot of work to pester just the support and the DPS on the side of Milkman. And yeah, that was a fantastic series. GG's all around. For Milkman, you know, they get a chance to redeem themselves in the lower brackets. All is not lost for them, and hopefully they can make the comeback. Actually, come back to once again play the drip on in the grand finals next week.
Yeah, and potentially, I mean, Drip Council, you know, they were looking good today off of the back of Evil Lurk, off Spud Hunter, Spadicy as well, and I want to mention Horizon again, because without that kind of consistent backline, you didn't really have that kind of potential for that recontest. Everyone was kept alive when they needed to in that recontest, and that was how they converted some of those, you know, some of that focus fire into kills, right? Sure, they have the shatter onto the D.Va, but that doesn't really do anything. The D.Va didn't get demacked, nothing happens to D.Va, but that was to prevent the D.Va from really keeping everyone else alive on Milkman. And in that recontest, Horizon was crucial with the immortality, keeping everyone alive. And in all reality, I think we got to give a lot more credit to the support line here. Spud Hunter and Spadicy and Evil Lurk, yeah, they did amazing in today's series, and Clyde to an extent as well. But the support line, I mean, they were popping off for a good portion of that series, and in all reality, you know, congratulations to the entirety of Drip Council, not just the key pop-off members that we were talking about, you know. A couple of 4Ks, a couple of 5Ks, a couple of 6Ks for Spud Hunter, for example, in a couple of those maps, but really it came down to the entire team.
And shout out to Collide for getting his machine to work finally. Maybe he went out and bought a nuke. Maybe, yeah, Clutch member. I mean, if he hadn't come in and if he hadn't come in to be the 6th member of a team that he was originally supposed to be the 6th member of, I mean, this series would have gone completely differently. But obviously, Collide, you know, did his part on the Doomfist and the Cassidy as well. So all around, just great job to Drip Council. I'm going to be looking forward to seeing what they do in Grand Finals next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Next week's Grand Finals should be massive, but we are going to be ending things off here, so thank you all for watching us on this journey of Drip Council, and, they brought the drip today, so they will be in the Grand Finals next week. Make sure you tune in for that. We've got NA happening later today, though, so the action is not at all over. Tune in later on for that, but that's been it for myself and Rudy. We'll see you.